Good evening, everyone. It is Memorial Day 2015, May 25th. And I just wanted to do a special podcast show and just, it'd be off the cuff about whatever and discuss and talk about any and all situations. But first and foremost, I'd like to, give thanks to the fallen heroes that sacrificed and gave everything for our country to have our freedoms that we have today. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to, honestly, I wouldn't be able to do this. And we wouldn't be, who knows what kind of world we'd be living in if it weren't for the men and women that fought and died for our country. And the men and women that still do serve. So thanks again to those, and I'd also like to thank any family members of mine that have served as well. Obviously, I thank you, my brother-in-law and my sister, to be specific. I really appreciate what they've done, and I'm glad that my brother-in-law just came home from another tour. I'm glad he's safe and sound. So I'm thankful. And some family members aren't lucky. They sometimes get that dreaded call that any military family does not want to hear and hopes to never get. And it's still, whenever my sister finally got out of the Army after 8 years, I believe. No, it wasn't quite that long. No, I gotta go back. Maybe it was 8 years. I'd have to ask her. But it was close to 10, I guess. And my brother-in-law is still in it, so anytime he's over there, I do think of him and hope he's okay. And I know my sister, her world would be shattered to its core. But again, just thank you to my brother-in-law, my sister, to any of my peers and my friends that I went to school with that have served. Thank you, and this is the day to the fallen heroes that have served and protected our country. So let's get started talking on the show. This past week, David Letterman finished filming his final show of The Late Show after 33 years, and Stephen Colbert will be taking over. I never really watched David Letterman, didn't really have an opinion on him. I guess I didn't have a problem with him. I just never watched a show, mainly one, because when I grew up, I could never stay up past like 9 o'clock as a kid. But it's just looking at it from a perspective of a milestone, or so to speak, because a couple years ago he surpassed Johnny Carson for the longest talk show. I believe it was when Carson was on for 31 years, I believe, and Letterman had been on for 32, and then last April he announced that this in 2015 would be his last year, and he finally had his last show. And so tip off my hat to David Letterman, though, for an amazing career. You gotta give him his due on that. I didn't follow him much, but if you were a big name band or you were a big name celebrity, he was one of the shows you went on to get yourself out there for mainstream media, notoriety and hopeful success. So those are one of the big shows. He was one of the big shows to be on. On one of his final shows, they had the top 10 countdown of things I wanted to say, Dave. They had the likes of Jim Carrey, Jerry Seinfeld, Peyton Manning, Bill Murray, and several others, and Barbara Walters. I'm not really a big fan of her, but still, it's nice that people go and pay the respect to the career and what David Letterman has done for the entertainment industry. So you put your differences aside and just you give one final bow, and you just appreciate. And then David Letterman went on to thanking every one of his crew members for all they've done and all the hard work they put in to make his show a success. And And in the end, he ended it with this was kind of just unique to me. I mean, he saw that he had a son, and I was like, well, his son looks kind of really young. And then I looked at David Letterman's age; he's 68, and his son will be 12 this year. So I mean, kind of a big age difference, obviously. But whatever, people in the entertainment industry usually last a long time. So I'm sure Letterman's still going to be around for a while. So I'm sure his son, will still have some time with his dad, and hopefully that's the case too. But and then also in his final set off, he would mention about he had heart surgery. I forget how long ago it was, but he had mentioned he wanted, when he was off for 5 or 6 weeks, and he wanted to get when his first show back, he wanted to have the Foo Fighters, and supposedly they canceled their tour in South America to come and perform on a show. And it was a song, I guess it was the song Everlong that helped him get through the times that he was facing the difficulties of the surgery and the the illness and the aftermath that comes with post surgery and everything like that. So that again, David Letterman, I'll say it for your fans, thanks for all the the many years of entertainment you have provided for all. And Stephen Colbert, it'll be interesting to see how he does, but the show must go on, as they say. Speaking, keeping it in the mainstream and with celebrities, Chris Jericho's Twitter got hacked, and one of the someone directed a tweet toward Vince McMahon's Twitter account under it saying, "Lick the cheese off my nuts." Yes, and oh my God! And then Chris Jericho had to use his band's Twitter account to say, "Hey, Twitter, I have been hacked," and so it really wasn't pretty. And then there was other tweets about, "Hey, the WWE's made it official; it's going in the porn business," or something along those lines. Very crazy tweets, and funny but serious at the same time. You're really fucking with someone's livelihood there, in the sense that you're making that's a PR nightmare. Like oh yeah, like WWE would really hook up with the porn industry, especially when they're catering to kids nowadays, and they're really they're in a PG format. But speaking of wrestling, though, I mean, I wonder if I'll catch tonight's show. Interesting storylines there. Supposedly, I just saw that Seth Rollins, there might be a face turn for Triple H, because Seth Rollins started using Triple H's finishing move, the pedigree, and then there was a comment made by Triple H in the storyline that he sees a reflection of him, and so that might lead to something down the road here. And someone also brought up a good point that if and this is, I'll say that they said this might be a thing where they might, because if Seth were to beat Triple H, then the Authority would want Brock back, and I was like, we'll see that, because since Stephanie indefinitely suspended Brock Lesnar, that would be her her way to get back at Seth. If Seth beats Triple H, and be like, you know what, I'm gonna unsuspend Brock Lesnar, and Brock, all of a sudden he comes out to a huge pop, and he F5s Seth Rollins. So that's somewhere that could be possibly down the line. Also, there's supposed to be a retirement angle, I guess, between Kane and the Big Show. I don't know if any of them are close to retiring. I mean, Kane said as long as his health is doing fine, he's going to keep doing it because he enjoys it. And Big Show, I mean, he's really financially set. I mean, both the wrestlers are, but I think a lot of fans are kind of tired of Big Show, and if they want to see Kane, they want to see him as the monster that we were first introduced to back in 1997. So it'll be interesting to see what the storylines, how they pan out with WWE in the next coming weeks. There's always kind of a lull period. Especially post WrestleMania, you get that high, the huge build up, and after WrestleMania, sometimes there's a period of it dies down. Usually, it might pick back up a little bit towards the end of summer, because then you have SummerSlam. You know, you have the 4 big pay-per-views throughout the year: the Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And like, there's always those big gaps. But between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it's like those. That's the, I would say, the biggest time of the year for the wrestling industry, no doubt. Because I mean, the Royal Rumble, that's a fun pay-per-view to watch. People get thrown over, surprise entrance, and who's WWE gonna go with as their guy to headline WrestleMania? So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about there. Anything else going on in the news? I mean, where do we begin? Where do we go? Where do we, what would I do? I spent part of my Memorial Day weekend, starting it on Friday. What did I do? I gotta backtrack here. Friday night, I gotta keep everything close to get Friday night. I can't remember what I did Friday night. My God. But Saturday, I went over to my brother's and mowed his lawn, and then I came home, and then I went to my friend's for the night to watch the hockey game between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Anaheim Ducks. Well, let's get into that, actually. The Anaheim Ducks and the conference finals in the NBA and NHL. Boy, what a polar opposites they are. Really competitive in the NHL, NBA. It's not even close. Both conference finals in the NBA are 3-0 leads, and the NHLs, both of them were 2-2 now after Tampa Bay won last night. It was 3-2. It was 3-2 Tampa Bay in the series, and tonight is the Game 5 between the Ducks and the Blackhawks, and I'm going to go with the Blackhawks win it all. That's just my gut instinct, because they got a good team. I can't deny their success, and you can't ignore it. Really good star players, role players, everyone doing what they need to do. Their Achilles heel, I believe, is Corey Crawford. He's not the worst goalie, but I think they win in spite of him. Giving up 3 goals in 37 seconds isn't exactly, one of the going to get you the Conn Smythe if you end up winning the Stanley Cup there. Chicago. It's more specifically Corey Crawford, but Patrick Kane, Jonathan Towles leading the way, and then you got a veteran superstar in Marian Hossa, Patrick Sharp leading in the second line, and then you got Andrew Shaw, Marcus Kruger, I believe his name is his first name. I know Kruger because I always think of Freddy Krueger whenever I see his name, and that's kind of cool. And then you got. They've got good defensive players. Johnny Adoya, Brent Seabrook, Duncan Keith. That guy's really impressive. One of the best offensive defensemen in the league. I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm a Penguins fan. Been one since when I was 6 years old back in 1995, and when they won the Stanley Cup in 2009. Oh my God, it was something. It had been something I had been long waiting for, and I'm hoping I see another one. I mean, I would have expected to have seen a second one personally by now. I mean, I know we won 3, but I've gotten, as a fan, I've only seen 1. But, it's the coaching situation, the way the management is, and the way they do the line. Sorry about that. It's just, it's one big clusterfuck, basically. It's a mess. I mean, there's no reason why they should be bowing out in the first round with the talent they have, with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. I really don't think they've been building really much around these guys. I think they've just been trying to, they're like in 2013, they just tried to buy, they sold the farm, when they brought in Jerome McGinley, Brendan Morrow, UC Okinen, Douglas Murray, and they traded away first-round draft picks, and, that didn't pan out. They ended up getting swept in the Eastern Conference Finals by the Boston Bruins, who went on to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup Finals. And that's because, the Blackhawks have actually good, players, role players, and coaches. Everyone doing what they need to do. Now, getting back to the NBA, it's like obvious. Geez, go figure. Why should we really be surprised with who's in the lead in their conference finals? LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers up 3-0, and then MVP Stephen Curry, who leads the Golden State Warriors over the Houston Rockets. They're up 3-0 in the series. It's gonna be Curry versus LeBron James. I mean, I'm not a big LeBron James fan, mostly because of his fans I can't stand who I see on the internet. So it's nothing really against LeBron James. It's his fans, specifically one I encountered in person. This guy was a friend of mine, but I mean, for various reasons, I just stopped associating with him because I just couldn't stand him. One is the guy was arrogant and is religious, but he was a religious not. I mean, I don't have people who have I don't have a problem with anyone who has a belief in God or anything, but this guy just seemed full of himself, and he gave speeches to for to spread the word of God. But this guy he acted like he knows the answer and has the answer, and he's younger than me even. And this guy's just so full of himself. He's so arrogant and cocky. And like I honestly just wanted to bash his face in because of how obnoxious he was. Not that I would, but the compelled to. It drove me nuts. So, but again, that's so nothing against LeBron personally. LeBron is a great player. Will be one of the great players when it's all said and done with his career. I just don't know if I would be quick to jump the gun to say he's greater than Michael Jordan. Who knows? I mean, his career is not even done yet, but. The going to the Miami to join up with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade really hurt his image, in my opinion. He didn't stay in Cleveland for people to stick around. Like, had they come to Cleveland, I think it would have been different. Because they've been like, hey, I'm committed to staying here. I want you guys to come and build a championship with me. Jordan, I mean, you got to admit, I mean, they got Scottie Pippen, and then they got Dennis Rodman. They had Horace Grant. This is their first run. Well, Dennis Rodman was part of their second run, so I can't get these guys mixed up together. But they had role players. Jordan and Pippen were the two guys, the go-to 1-2, and then everyone had a role. And then like with the second three-peat, which I got to see, I was a Bulls fan. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc. Everyone just had a role and did their job. Especially that phenomenal team from 1995-96 when they went 72-10. Mark that I don't think will ever be matched. It's possibly up there as a mark or a feat that might never be achieved again against along the line of Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. The closest that's ever been, I believe, is Pete Rose with 44. And anytime there's any like 30 or 40, 30 game hit streaks, it's usually sometimes lately they're carryovers from the previous season. Oh, well, he ended last season on a 26 game hit streak. Now he's hit hitting 4 straight games in the first 4 games of this season. I'm just saying, sometimes it's like that. But, getting 30 game hit streaks is something, it's hard to do nowadays, let alone thinking 56. Is it 55, 56? Now I'm really hitting myself, but it's just something, these things you don't see that we're ever going to be duplicate again. But going back to LeBron James, about when he made that move to go to Miami and not stay in Cleveland, that really hurt his image, and like people turned their backs against him, not just his own fans, but basketball fans in general, and they wanted to see Miami lose unless you're a Miami Heat fan. And they went to the finals 4 times, only won twice. And he left Miami after last season to go back home to Cleveland, and Kevin Love signed, but he's out for the remainder of the playoffs, and J.R. Smith, and you got Kyrie Irving. So, I mean, for the city of Cleveland, though, for me personally, because I'm a Cleveland Indians baseball fan, and
I feel for the city of Cleveland. They have not had a professional championship in 60 years. And witnessing the 1997 World Series, losing that was heartbreaking as a kid. And then the 2007 ALCS when they were up 3-1 against the Red Sox. I believe, it sucks because Cliff Lee had an off year that year, and then the next year he comes right back and has like a 20-2 season, wins the AL Cy Young. Where was that? Like, we could have used him the year before. No doubt in my mind, had we had that Cliff Lee, things would have been different. We probably would have beaten the Red Sox, won the World Series as well. I think we would have been favored against the Rockies as well. But dang, I mean, it was really close. That that sucked when that happened. Sports can be like that. They can be really heartbreaking, more so than they ought to be. But when you're a really diehard fan, especially of teams, you can really get emotionally involved and invested in it. And the Indians right now they've won 5 straight. They were at a record of 14-23. I'm like, oh god. And like Corey Kluber, the reigning AL Cy Young, I mean, he hasn't been getting any offensive support, but he started 0-5, I believe. And then finally won one, and he had an 18 strikeout performance. Wow. That's what he's capable of doing. We got Danny Salzer back. He's in the mix, and he's a really good young pitcher. Bauer, he's good as well. And Carsox pitched some good games too, had some good outings, but our offense really needs to step it up. That's where our problem is, because sometimes our pitchers, they've been throwing 10 strikeouts a game and they lose because we lose like 2-1. Where's the offense to help us? And that's what's been killing us, I believe. And our pitching's all right. I think our relief could have use some help, but other than that, we need a couple bats. So, and then going back just to the NBA and NHL conference finals, the NHL is far better entertainment, closer, more competitive than the NBA conference finals have been. And then we had the Indy 500 yesterday. A buddy of mine actually went to it, and he had a lot of fun there. It's always an annual event. It's a big event, obviously. A guy I went to school with, high school with, that's like his personal holiday, the Indy 500. So, it's a big deal for some people. I mean, I've never watched it, but I know it does gather a crowd and an audience. So, there's no argument there. I won't deny that. I just never got into it. But I'm sure if I were to go to it live, that might be a different story. And I've been told that, it's different when you go to a racing event live. It's a lot more different. And, the experience is something that you won't forget. It gives you a good rush and adrenaline. Just seeing the cars go around the tracks like that, I can only imagine what it's like to see them going like nearly 200 miles per hour. But so yeah, that's what's going on with sports for me. I mean, Michael Sam, I see he got a sign with in the Canadian Football League. Hopefully, for his sake, this is, I guess, a way to try to springboard, try to get back into the NFL, and he can use this as a platform, or try to prove his worth. It's unfortunate though, because his sexual orientation has been played more of a role in his public image than his actual football skills, and it's a shame. But I mean, that does fall on Michael Sam himself, because when he came out gay, it's like, oh, okay, what do you want for it? Special treatment? I don't know what he was looking for, but I mean, I wish the guy all the best, but I think that was attention seeking on his part, and I'm not gonna stray away from it. But so like I said, I mean, best of luck to him. And then you get people who are just strictly NFL fans. They don't know what to do between the period of the NFL draft and then the preseason, at least when that starts. And then you have the regular season that starts. When that gets going, people are, it's like everything. It's like the way the seasons fall. Football season, oh, well, if it's football season, well, school starts again, and everything else to that nature. It's just one cycle it's always continuous. When baseball started, it's like springtime. Fresh cut grass, the dew in the morning, and that would last all the way into the summer and somewhat early fall, possibly, depending, because it would still be warm. Uh, so that was always something for me too with baseball and football. When they would, the World Series, when the Indians were good, they were competitive. And with the football that started, it was always hard. It's like whatever sport was in, that was the sport I was following the most. That was the one I liked the most, and it's because it was going on. And then NHL and basketball, it's those are separate by themselves because after the NFL season's done, you still have the NHL and the NBA regular seasons going on for a couple months before baseball starts again. So, it's that cycle, and it's always nice though. To see when a new season starts, you're just ready to go. You're ready to hope this is the year for your team to win it all. And unfortunate for me, with sports teams, I don't really pick the. Doesn't seem like a good have done good at picking the right ones to cheer for since ever since okay, but whatever, that's just how it goes. Whatever. Uh, I'd like to see the Indians win one World Series before I die. They're the American League Chicago Cubs, I would say. And that whole town, like I said, because the city of Cleveland, I mean, they have not seen a championship in of all professional sports in over 60 years. And, the Cleveland Indians, they've had their heartbreaks as well. So, that's what else is going on. I mean, it's back to work tomorrow. Everyone enjoying their days off from work today. Again, take a minute to realize why we celebrate Memorial Day, the fallen heroes, and before you stuff your fat face. uh, but back to the grind tomorrow. Trying to make ends meet. That's another thing. We're talking about money for a second. I make sure I want to save up so I can buy my house, own a house, and have a down payment for it. But I'm going out on a trip, like I mentioned recently, to Washington State to visit my sister. That round airfare ticket costs over $600, and then I'll be taking a couple extra money, if we go out. Plus, I have to, get my sister's birthday gift and something for my nephew because his birthday was in April. So I'm thinking $900 is being used for this trip, close to $1,000 basically. So and that was from work and everything that I had to do to make it. To make put the money on the table so I can have this trip. I originally wanted to go actually during this week, but other employees had, scheduled off, but it actually worked out well because I was able to save up more money because of it. So, there is even though initially I wanted to go this week, it's, what's that word? It's a phrase I always use. I hate it when that happens. Hate it when that happens. Man. Oh, man, it's on the tip of my tongue, top of my head. Blessing in disguise. There you go. Blessing in disguise. Like I said, it worked out. But man, the next couple weeks are going to be, for me personally, going to be pretty busy. I got this whole week to where my job I'm taking over for the main person while they're out, because they're, like I said, one of the people are out off all week, and then the following week I have like a CPR and first aid training, and then that's after that week is done, I get ready to go out to Washington State. So that will be an experience. I haven't flown for this will be the first time in nearly 14 years I've flown in an airplane. Last time it was to go out to Arizona to see family, and I had always been like kind of afraid of you know flying the airplane, especially Flight 800. And it was because, well, I look at that because I grew up basically down the street from where the high school students from Montoursville High School. That's where I just grew up. That school was just down the road from where I grew up, and that really hit the community pretty hard. It is, and the cemetery where they're all buried at, which is where a lot of my family is buried at as well. And in fact, I actually had a family member that I didn't know of until recently, a couple weeks, like a few years ago. I had a family member that was on that plane, and it was sad to find that out. But I mean, I didn't like cry or anything because I didn't know them. But obviously it sucked to find out that that I had a relative who had passed and perished due to the Flight 800. Some people today still think it was a friendly fire missile strike from the U.S. Navy, I believe. And well, I'm not one in the conspiracies, but when your investigation's being led by Louis Freeh, you probably got some reasons to be skeptic. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, Ruby Ridge, and then what was the other guy's name with the Olympics that he wrongfully blamed? Oh my God, Louis Freeh is a freaking mess. A horse's ass is a jackass. Oh man, that guy ruins people's lives, and these are the type of people that we hold in high honors, high standards. Really funny that politicians are regarded to be prestigious. When a lot of them, most of them, are just nothing but scumbags and liars. Oh man. Oh boy, I'm really having fun this podcast. It's going on. I don't know, what is it? 40 minutes probably. I don't know. I don't have a timer to see, but this is really good. Just sitting here chilling this Memorial Day of 2015. Yeah, again, back to money though. I guess I just want to talk about like I want to save money so I can put down a down payment on a house, but life gets in the way, things come up, and I'm thinking about going back to school too. But that's also like, oh well, you gotta get student loans, so that puts me back. But it's like you can't win for losing sometimes. It's not like I'll ever be lucky enough to win the lottery and be financially secured. And I don't know what I'd do if I won the lottery. I honestly don't. We talk about how obviously easy it might be, but sometimes people, it doesn't actually get easier. You hear the stories about where it makes their life more miserable, and then they're 5 years later, all the money that they won is like gone. They spent it all, and they're back to where they were. So, but for me personally, I know I would the most of it I'd put away and invest it, no doubt. And then like my nephews and the ones that are coming, whether they're going to be a nephew or niece, I would put away for trust funds. And but then you finally discover you had family members you didn't really know you had, and friends you didn't know you had too, right? Fuck off. That's what I tell them. Fuck off. You wouldn't want anything to do with me before. Why would you want anything to do with me now? I'm still the same person. Just have more money. That's all. And then when I die, it's not like I would have it going to you. So get the fuck out of here. Fuckheads. People are like that. People that use people. That's just fucking bullshit. We all need to try to find a way to get ahead in life, but you see it every day. People using people for their own agenda and benefits. Well, you know what? I think I'll end that here for this podcast, and this one ran a little bit longer than the past two, I believe. I really enjoyed it. It was nice talking, just shooting the breeze and talking about what was on my mind, what happened the past week, and what's going on, and what I have planned personally in the next upcoming weeks. So I will leave a link in the description to my Twitter and my Facebook pages. You can always check out updates there, and follow me and uh, interact with me there. And so yeah, check those links out in the description below of this video. So with that said, as always, I'm Nam, and always use your noodle.